Hey, the Matrix, welcome to Educate. Let us do this in November 2024 paper. It says the diagram below represents a neuron with myelin sheath, and they say it is myelinated, and the neuron without myelin sheath, it is unmyelinated. You can see that here we have got two diagrams of two neurons, and one neuron here, it has got myelin sheath. You can see that there is a label here, but this other one, it does not have myelin sheath at all. So now they say 2.5.1, identify the type of neuron shown in the diagrams. Remember that we have got three main types of neurons. We have got a sensory neuron, we have got an interneuron, as well as a motor neuron. The interneuron is also known as a connector neuron. So now here, the motor neuron, this is the motor neuron, basically. Okay, I'm telling you the answer. So this is the motor neuron. So 2.5.1, we're going to say that this is the motor neuron. How can you identify that this is the motor neuron? Basically, you can see that here, the cell body or the nucleus here, basically whenever you see this round-like structure, the nucleus, it is basically found at the beginning, right? It is basically found at the beginning, or it is found closer to the dendrites, right? It is found closer to the dendrites. So whenever they ask you of a reason why you say that this is a motor neuron, you can mention that because we know that only a motor neuron has a structure that has got dendrites and the cell body at the same position. So you can say that is one a reason for that. So 2.5.2 says give one visible reason for your answer in question 2.5.1. When they say a visible reason, they want something that you can be able to see. Okay, not something that you know, but something that you are able to see from the diagram. And from the diagram, we are able to identify that this is a motor neuron for a mere fact that the cell body and the dendrite are at the same position. Or you can say that the cell body is at the beginning. But I don't know if the English makes sense. But basically, that's how it is easy to it is to be able to identify that it's a motor neuron. So here we talk about the cell body. So here the cell body is closer to the dendrite. Okay, you can say something like that. Okay, it is closer to the dendrite. Okay, you can say it in a better English way, but basically it means the same context. So here the cell body is closer to the dendrite. Okay, so this tells us that this is a motor neuron. You can clearly see that these are the dendrites, right? These are the dendrites. These sticks-like structure. These are dendrites. All of these are dendrites. And then the cell body is right there where the dendrites are. So we can say that this is a motor neuron. All of these are dendrites. And then now they say describe the function of the type of neuron identified in question 2.5.1. So we say that this is a motor neuron. What are the functions of the motor neuron? Here they say the function, so you have to describe only one function and explain it, how it works. So basically here you are given 3 marks to do that. So at least give 3 valid points so that we can give you the marks for that. So 2.5.3, to describe the function of the motor neuron, we start with the impulses. Basically, remember that the motor neuron receives impulses from the interneuron or from the connector neuron. So here we say that here a motor neuron, it receives, now we're talking about its function, it receives impulses. Okay, you can say nerve impulses to be precise. So it receives nerve impulses from the connector neuron. Or you can say from the inner neuron. And then what does it do with those impulses? Those impulses, it transmits them, okay, or it conducts them to the what? To the thingy, to the effector muscle or gland. So these neurons, these impulses, it transmits them and transmits them to the effector to the effector, muscle, or gland. You must mention that the effector, it must be a muscle or gland. So that it does what? Why does the effector the muscle or gland receive the impulses? So that there must be a response. So here it is to bring about a response. To bring about a response. So you can say it in your own words, but make sure that you stay in the same context with the question, because the question wants to know the function of the motor neuron. The motor neuron gets impulses from the interneuron, and then it transmits those impulses to the muscle or to the effector muscle or gland, so that the effector muscle or gland can bring a response. To others, they might say that here, when I'm talking about this function of bringing a response, I'm now describing the function of the effector. Yes, in a sense, but basically here it is still part of the function of the motor neuron, because without the motor neuron, there is no response that can occur. So the moment the motor neuron receives those nerve impulses from the connector neuron, it will transmit them to the what? To the effector muscle or gland. So that, all right, so that that effector muscle or gland will bring a response, or it will respond to the stimulus. For example, when you are touching a hot plate, you will eventually pull out your hand. Why are you pulling out your hand so quickly? It is because of this effector muscle or gland. It actually stiffens your muscles and pulls out in time before huge damage has been done. So that's known as a reflex action. So now 2.5.4. So 2.5.4, it says use the letters A, B, C to indicate the direction in which impulses move through the neuron. So basically, remember that the way impulses move through a neuron, they start with the dendrite. So basically, whenever we're talking about the movement of impulses within a neuron, they start with the dendrite and they move to the cell body. They move to the cell body. And from the cell body, they move to the axon. And then from the axon, they move to the terminal end of the axon. So they move to the terminal end of axon. And eventually, that's where the synaptic gap will be. And then they will jump to another neuron. So basically, this is just a simple skeleton of catching this drift. So impulses move from dendrite, they move to the cell body, they move to the axon, and then they move to the terminal end of the axon so that they can go through a synaptic gap. So basically here, now they say indicate the direction in which this moves using the letters A, B, and C. So it means the letters A, B, and C, they represent those parts, but we need to represent them in order, in showing with this order. This is the order. I've already given you the order of how neurons, how impulses move within a neuron. So basically, let's just look for those parts within this diagram. We can see that in this diagram, we have got part C, we have got part A, we have got part B, and here in part C, it is the dendrite. So that's your dendrite. So basically, the impulses will first start with the dendrite. So it will start with part C with the correct sequence, and then they will move into the cell body. This is the cell body, but it is not labeled. And from the cell body, they move to part A. You can see that this is part A and it is the axon. Because here, this is the part that is actually coming from the what? Coming from the cell body. So this thing that looks like ukotolol, something that looks like a stick going down there, it is the axon. So that is part A. So it moves to part A. So from dendrite to axon, because the cell body is not labeled in this diagram, and then you can see that part B is the terminal end of the axon. So to part B, which is the terminal end. So this is the correct sequence of the direction of movement of impulses within a neuron. Now to the base of the question. Name the disorder associated with the degeneration of myelin sheaths of neurons. Remember, the myelin sheath, it is there to be able to conduct impulses quicker, to be able to transmit impulses faster. All right, so you can see that here we have got one neuron that has got myelin sheath, one neuron that is myelinated according to the statements keyword, and then we have got another one that is not myelinated, that is unmyelinated. It does not have myelin sheath. So you would desire to have a neuron that has got more myelin sheath, because remember that the myelin sheath, it is there to be able to conduct impulses faster. So it actually insulates the neuron, so it helps the neuron to be able, the impulses to be able to move faster. So once the myelin sheath is damaged or it has degenerated, basically you have got this condition that is known as multiple sclerosis. So don't just write MS, write multiple sclerosis. So the multiple sclerosis, it is this condition. So it is known as the multiple sclerosis. So basically the multiple sclerosis is this condition that actually does what? Is the condition that results when myelin sheath is being damaged, or it is degenerating. All right. So basically it just means that the impulses will be starting to move slower within the neuron. All right. Because the myelin sheath, remember, its function is to make them to move faster, so that you can respond quicker to things. For example, if I call your name, and probably your myelin sheath is damaged, you probably respond to me after 2 minutes. I'll be like, "Hey, Tabo," and then, "Hey." And you see, you can see that most of the times it happens to old people. So it's most of the times to old people. When you are now old and you have aged, most of the times you hear things. You take time to perceive something. It is because the myelin sheath, the one that transmits the impulses to the brain, the messages of what's happening outside to the brain, basically it is damaged, it is degenerated. So that is known as multiple sclerosis. It can actually lead to memory loss in most cases. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to also stay tuned.